The silence of the woods returned, heavy and thick, seconds after Kola crushed the officer's skull. The massive gorilla turned his glowing gaze toward the distant city lights one last time before retreating into the deep shadows of the forest. The mansion. Thorn versus Diamond. Back at the estate, the air in the kitchen was charged with the smell of ozone and copper. Detective Thorn hit the hardwood floor with a bone-jarring thud, his service revolver skittering across the tile, far out of reach. Diamond Dog loomed over him, his blue fur matted with rain and his yellow eyes burning with predatory intent. As Thorn scrambled to his feet, Diamond swung a heavy, hydraulic arm. The impact was like being hit by a sledgehammer. Thorn was sent flying backward, his spine slamming into the marble kitchen counter before he tumbled over to the other side, disappearing from the animatronic's sight. Diamond stepped forward, his mechanical paws clicking on the floor. He peered over the counter, his jaw unhinging in a silent snarl, but the space was empty. A moment later, Diamond's internal sensors spiked. A large chef's knife was missing from the wooden block on the island. Suddenly, Thorn lunged from the shadows. With a roar of desperation, he drove the heavy blade deep into the back of Diamond's neck, aiming for the main processor cable. The metal shrieked as it pierced the synthetic skin and lodged into the alloy spine. But it wasn't enough. The knife only sank a few inches, too shallow to hit the core. Diamond let out a distorted, digital howl, spinning around to hurl the detective across the room again. The outskirts. The old farm. The story shifts miles away, where the dense forest thins out into a vast field of golden, waist-high wheat. At the far end of the property stood an old, two-story farmhouse, its white paint peeling like dead skin. Two rusted silos towered nearby, casting long, jagged shadows across the dirt. Kola emerged from the tree line, his massive frame parting the wheat as he walked. He paused for a long minute, his darkened gaze fixed on the rotting structure, before continuing his steady, mechanical march toward the porch. He passed an abandoned hay baler, a relic of a different era that looked functional despite the rust, but he did not stop. As a pale, gray sun began to rise over the horizon, Kola stepped onto the porch. The rotting planks groaned under his immense weight. He reached out a gore-stained hand and pushed the front door open. Kola's cold, towering shadow stretched across the dust-covered floorboards of the foyer. He ignored the debris and the smell of abandonment, walking directly to a small, wooden frame hanging crookedly on the hallway wall. Inside the frame was a faded photograph, a woman smiling brightly, her arm around a small, laughing child. Kola stood perfectly still, his mechanical hum the only sound in the house, as he stared at the faces from a life that had been stolen long before the Diamond Casino ever opened its doors.